engender that kind of resistance from some kids. I think you're better off, much better off, with an administrator. And as Ken said, you know, he's your employee. He does pretty much what you direct him to do and is responsible to if he doesn't, instead of being responsible to somebody at the North End Police Station who may or may not feel the same way about education, kids, and academics as we do.
I do just want, I mean, the police department didn't notify of it. They didn't take the SRO because they didn't think the position was important. They had a number of officers that were out, so that's why he was removed for a period of time. So they do find the position important. I just don't want the police department to think that we're... Any further discussion?
Response to you, which is, you talked about students' respect. The problem that I perceive with the student population, especially at the high school and at the middle school, is that there is a good minority of students who have totally no respect for administration, teachers, and maybe the only thing that can actually at least control them to a degree is to have that authoritative figure, such as a police officer in the building, and if not, a professional security type person who actually does this for a profession. And I think you need some type of mix, because these kids clearly, the ones that we're talking about that are assaulting other kids, the ones that are disrespectful to teachers, that walk around the building using profanity, being disrespectful, not listening, they clearly aren't being respectful to the teachers, and I find it hard to believe they're going to be any more respectful to an assistant principal. And I've been seeking some type of alternative to how discipline has been conducted at the high school since I've been on the board. It seems like we continue to go in the same direction, and that's clearly not the answer. So that's just my opinion.
I would not disagree that there are a lot of kids who are exactly the kind of kid you're talking about, but there are also a lot of kids who don't need to run into a police officer.
But they're the ones that are taking up the majority of administrative time and service time, and they're the ones that are really being the most destructive to this high school culture, and they're the ones that are really taking down the reputation. It's a small minority, but it's such a prevalent, dominant group of students. If the administration that we had now had an answer, I would assume this school would not be in the level of chaos that it's in now.
Point of order.
All right, wait a minute, you just went too far.
Okay, why too far?
Because you just started evaluating the administrative staff.
Yep.
You gotta watch, Mr. Oliver has the floor.
What's going on?
Mr. Oliver has the floor.
I just want to move the question on this. We have a motion on the floor, so I want to move that question. So I need a vote to move the question, to end discussion.
I'll make a motion to end discussion.
All those in favor of
The motion is,
to add an assistant principal at the high school and let the administration determine how they're going to fund that without increasing the budget. Is that right?
That's correct.
Shouldn't we have an answer for that? How they're gonna do that?
Could get rid of the coach.
At the,
It's up, right, they could.
however they decide to do it, as long as that, we have to, our responsibility is to get a number to the city tonight, right? We have to get it to the city, we have to vote on a budget. As long as that budget figure doesn't move, we'll figure that out. That's their job. And we also have to be careful about, I think that we as a board do not necessarily determine all of the positions within the school system. That's not our realm of responsibility. It is our responsibility to hire a superintendent and then hold her accountable for the happenings within the district. I think every year we walk up against a very fine line in this discussion, but nevertheless, I move the question, we're voting on right now whether or not we're going to end discussion.
all those in favor of ending discussion and moving the question? Opposed? Okay, 9-1. Those in favor of adding a high school assistant principal and letting administration determine the funding source. All those in favor?
Oh, I'm in favor.
Now I gotta count all over again.
Tired.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in favor, against, 2 against. Okay. Yes, sir.
I would move that we eliminate the literacy and numeracy coaches 6 through 12 as a grant-funded position.
Do I have a second for that motion?
Second.
Second by Mr. Nargi. Discussion. I think we've beat this horse as far as we can beat it. All those in favor of,
Discussion, there was some discussion, I had something.
well, I asked and there wasn't any hands, I'm sorry.
Hands going up now.
Okay.
I won't support that, even though I understand where you're coming from, but given the fact that I am now thinking of these more as teaching positions, administrative positions, I would like to follow that up with a motion for the administration to cut from central office to administrative functions to cover both the addition of the high school assistant principal and elimination of director of special programs.
Okay.
So I'm letting you know why I would vote against that, because once again, you will convince me these are actually.
He's not making a motion. He's stating that he's going to.
Central office.
So we have a motion on the floor that's been seconded.
Right,
That was
we
part of
have
your
this-
discussion. So we-
Yes.
Correct.
Discussion by Andy.
Discussion again. As far as these coaches are concerned, what I don't quite understand is, how often do we change the textbooks in any of these core subject matters? I mean, the teacher is teaching out of a textbook that we've had. No, we change textbooks
We're
every year.
not changing the textbooks because we're not using textbooks because the textbooks are no longer aligned to the Common Core standards as they have been presented by the state and by the federal consortium. So right now, part of the process that the coaches are assisting with are identifying appropriate resources and developing units of study in order to replace topics that have been moved or topics that are now obsolete in their existing grade level. So right now, really, there are very few places in the district where we can have teachers teaching out of a textbook, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. Teachers need to know their content deeply, and that's part of the role that these people play in identifying appropriate materials to address the standards for a wide variety of learners in the classroom. So we're not purchasing textbooks in the upcoming budget. We're using a variety of supplemental resources, internet-based resources, and other types of instructional materials in order to deliver a curriculum which is aligned with the Common Core standards.
And when do these teachers get this new material? They get it during the summer, they get it on the first day. How do they prepare in the course of the year
They do it.
for a wide, never-changing subject content matter?
There's work that's done over the summer by a small group of teachers, the teachers that generally represent a variety of grades. But really, the ongoing work is done on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis through grade level meetings, and at the secondary level through department meetings. We have very few times that are built into the school schedule where teachers have time set aside during their contractual day to plan and to collaborate. And that really has been a handicap for us to be able to develop and design and implement and get feedback and reflect upon the effectiveness of instruction. So that's another reason why we rely on the instruction support positions to assist the teachers in processing through the changes, understanding what they mean for instruction in the classroom, and then implementing the materials that they've been able to find that meet those standards.
So the teachers are constantly learning
Yeah.
day by day.
Year by year. A teacher never stops learning. They can't. Because you also add to it the fact that you have children with specific needs in the classroom. You have second language learners in the classroom. Those are all different strategies that a teacher needs to know so she can differentiate, or he can differentiate the instruction to these children. So a teacher needs not only to know content, but they also need to know how different learners learn. their classroom to create a conducive learning environment for everybody there. And at the same time, develop their instructional materials to reach and meet the different students' needs.
And they do that in their prep time every day?
They do it at night and on weekends.
Daniel, do you have anything to add to this discussion? or-
I'd just like to move this to a vote, please.
All right, does anyone else have any discussion about it, or we move it? All right, all those in favor of eliminating the 6 through 12 numeracy and literacy coaching positions? All those in favor? We have 2. Opposed?
Anchors.
8. Okay. The only other topic that I had that hadn't been discussed yet was the cutting of the Director of Special Services position. Oh, special program.
She's sitting right there.
This would have been the shortest
Sorry.
superintendency reign in Torrington if you did that.
I'm sorry, Beth. I apologize. You guys need to diversify your names a little bit.
Everyone's special.
There's too many directors of special. All right. Do we have a motion to?
Yes.
We have a motion by Mr. Cavanero to remove the position Director of Special Services. Do we have a second? Special programs. Sorry. Do we have a second to that? Second by Mr. Nargi. Discussion. Be honest.
I think it's important that we look at the amount of money that was brought in grants in comparison to the salary, which we have somewhere. I have it somewhere, but I believe it was well over $1.5 million.
Yes.
We brought in over $29 million.
$29 million.
Per year.
No,
Wait a minute.
Is $29 million.
but those aren't, that includes EC.
Yes, that includes all grants.
So if you take that out, we estimate $24 million, right? And then you have, grants for public education comes out. It's about $2 million.
Oh, God, no, it's much more than that, yeah.
We have that whole list.
It's in your,
Last school year, what are we looking
It was a one-point agency.
It's in this, it's in the booklet.
Well, I would assume the only school year we looked at was the school year where we actually had a person doing that job full-time.
Right.
So that would be the
That's 18,000.
9-10 school year.
I've been doing grants in the position of administrator on special assignment. How many different titles have I had? But anyway, I've been in 5 years, I've been writing grants for this district.
Correct. I'm just trying to get the most recent data for the grants that were available.
We have a total grants of $29 million. You gotta take out the 24 for ECS. Oh, you're doing it.
Yes.
And then $2 million for transportation.
She'll get right back to you with that number. Does anyone have any further discussion?
It's on page
Chris?
14 and 15 of your.
Cheryl can tell us how much of her time in that capacity when she was there was spent grant writing.
How much time in your capacity while you were the Director of Special Programs did
Probably
you
about
spend grant writing?
half.
About half.
A simple grant takes about 30 hours. Deb, how many hours did we spend? We did 5 at once, and we probably had over 200, 250 hours in doing those 5 grants
And what,
at one time.
not to sound like- what else besides the grant? So I'm thinking,
What else did I
you
do?
know, if we have to hire a grant person and someone else, and they're both half-time, and that equals a full-time person, you might not save any money, but.
Okay.
It's
I was
$2.5
also,
million.
I was also responsible for the ELL program district-wide, which incorporated about 368 students and 13 teachers that I supervised, met in faculty meetings, wrote budgets for, oversaw any of we have 3 ELL grants, which we use for tutoring and
extra support, again, working with students in classes, the TAG program, and also work with Torrington Early Childhood Collaborative, which included our school readiness program, writing the whole, we've received multiple year grants through the Graustein Foundation to establish this whole early childhood collaborative. And we wrote a plan and results. How much
was that grant alone?
Which one? School readiness? Graustein? Graustein Memorial. It's, yeah. I can't see it. Yeah, 133,000.
Do you need a separate certification or any kind of,
No.
anything extra to deal with the ELL, ESL
Oh,
portion?
it would be good to have someone who at least is an ELL teacher.
Someone like a literacy coach, did that person do that?
No, it would have to be somebody who's certified ELL. What we could do, been thinking a lot about this, because I was also at one time, for a couple of years, I was district-wide test coordinator. I mean, you name it, what scraped, you know, yeah, Sue does it now, but I'm just saying, what couldn't be done kind of got like scraped onto my plate. So with ELL, we could offer a stipend to, right now we have primary and secondary coordinators for ELL because it's overseeing the last links, that's the testing, it's also assessing students who are coming into kindergarten, so we know who will need bilingual and ESL services, things like that. We could offer a stipend for them to pick up components. The principals will have to do the evaluation pieces.
Thank you.
Is it possible to freelance this? I mean, just give somebody 10% and we do the private sector. You know, you make $2 million, you get $200,000. That's pretty incentivizing.
You'd have to probably pay them something to write them, and then we can build in an administrative fee in the grant if the grant allows administrative fees. Not all grants will let you do that.
But why would it have to be structured as a grant? Can it be just a contract with the Board of Education, you know?
Oh, yeah,
Like any
this
other
is,
MOU, you know, whatever you bring in, we'll give you 10%. You're not an employee, you'll say, we're not gonna pay you that, we're not gonna do this.
right.
You know,
Yeah, we could just pay an hourly rate to write it, or at least have a little piece of money to say, okay, we can pay them to get them started in writing the grant. And then in the grant, you know, it wouldn't be a full-time job, it wouldn't be an employee.
No, what Paul's saying is it's a success fee. You know, if you bid the job and you get the job, you get the job. If you bid the job, you don't get the job, you don't get the job. So if they write the grants, they get money, if we get it. If they don't get the grant, it was, you know, thank you for your time, good luck on the next one.
They don't.
If you're talking about $2 million worth of grants, that's.
There's districts that do that.
Incentive to farm it out.
Cheryl just did it at halftime without that commission.
Trying to avoid
Right.
adding yet another administrator to
But
the
it's-
central office
I
to
would,
do what is essentially a form of fundraising.
There are professional fundraisers though, Paul. I'm just, to play devil's advocate, I know a number of them that raise money for a number of different charities, and they actually do get paid a VIG, if you will, a commission based on the amount of money that they raise.
That's what I'm saying, though. Why can't we do that? Why is that?
I'm just saying, why would you want to at this point? If you, just to use your 10% analogy,
Because it's
Cheryl would have made $250,000 last year. I mean, she would have liked it. I'm just saying,
5%. I mean, you know, right now, we're just throwing numbers. So you make it 5%, come up with a reasonable number based on past performance.
Before you could do that, though, you'd have to find out what the market would bear. I mean, you know,
Why
if
can't we
it,
do that? Instead of putting yet another yearly.
all right, we can
position
do
for
that,
grant
but we
writer.
have approximately an hour and 40 minutes to come up with a number. So we're not gonna reach any grant writers right now to come up with a percentage that they would work on. You know, unfortunately, we're at the 11th hour. It's, you know, it's something we could definitely look into. I mean, we're talking about,
And I say we not support this, and I say we not support this position, because we can't, I think it's equally ludicrous to add yet another administrative, ongoing, rolling administrative cost to our budget to write grants when it may very well be more profitable, more lucrative, and may result in more grant money coming to us to outsource. And we'll look at that this coming school year.
Daniel, do you have any comments?
I would look at this and say the position is a $120,000 position. We're beating a dead horse here. I mean, if we're sitting here, we're saying we can guarantee ourselves $2.5 million already in grants for backfilling the position. I mean, you're gonna make your money, what, 1,000 times over, a little more than that? This is ridiculous. Just moving ahead, and then if things get really tight and we have to scrape up, we'll save another $40,000 and get a part-time grant writer. Let's just move this ahead, please.
Andrew, any discussion?
Just on the grants, are they sustainable once you get the grant, or you have to continue to keep writing those grants year in and year out?
You have to write the grant. Once you receive it, you have to watch how, you have to make sure that what you've written is implemented. So you have to manage the grant, you have to manage the budget that you created with the grant, and then you have to write a full evaluation of the grant once you've implemented it on a yearly basis.
You have to audit it as well, right?
Yeah.
It has to be audited as well to make sure it's in compliance. That's the.
Yeah. You have to, I mean, it's
Right.
more than just writing the grant. It's who's going to oversee it to make sure that what is written in the grant is actually implemented. And then you create the budget, and you have to make sure that the money, just like this budget, that this is what you said you're gonna spend the money for, and it's spent for that and not for anything else. And there's a whole process that if you want to transfer funds, you have to transfer funds. If you have, within the grant, it allows you to hire people, and you have to make sure that if they're filling out time cards, what their time cards are every week, you have to sign off, you have to say, okay, this is to what grant, you know, there's a big management piece with it too.
And just to be like kind of in a compromising mode, I'm not saying that I would vote to eliminate it, but I certainly would like to have some thought in terms of potentially reducing the cost of the district for that position. Is it something that could be delegated among 3 or 4 different people in different areas, so that, say for example, your time was 100 hours, hypothetically, in doing all your grants. Could there be 4 different people where you can delegate a quarter to each one and potentially save the district some money?
Yeah, we already do that. No,
Can we somehow reduce this item by maybe half the dollar amount?
I was just hoping that we would have some money to maintain a grant writer.
And in that idea of compromise, would you give us a potentially different number that board member could make a motion on that item? I mean, we want it to be reasonable. Clearly, I agree with other board members. We don't want to lose $2 million for $100,000. That doesn't make any sense. But as we're clearly trying to save every dollar, if we could potentially do it in a different manner, maybe save $60,000 or $40,000, that certainly would be.
I'll take 60.
Okay. There's a motion on the floor right now.
I think,
Who did that motion?
Well, we have a motion.
We have a motion on the floor, we have to.
Well, now that, would you like to amend it to?
Well, so do you want, can you just reiterate what your motion is?
I thought my motion
Was was eliminate the position Director of Special Programs. Correct. And it was seconded, correct?
Seconded by
It
Andrew.
was seconded by
Yes.
Andrew. Just making sure we have this all together. So we need to move that to a vote.
And now knowing that
they could potentially do it for half the price. Would you amend it to reduce that item by?
Well, why don't we just vote on the motion we have, and then we'll, if you want to
Okay,
make
then I'll
another one,
make-
we'll make another
And
one.
then you can make another motion.
All those in favor of removing, eliminating the Director of Special Programs position? All those in favor?
Me.
Got two. Mr. Cavanero and Mr. Rivera. All those opposed? Would be everybody else.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion that the administration reduce that line item for Director of Special Services. Programs. I'm sorry, be reduced by amount of 50,000.
Do we have a second?
Reduce it by 50,000?
Reduce that position.
Reduce it by half-time.
No, he wants to
She said
reduce the,
60, I say,
Okay.
let's do 50.
Okay.
So
you're
instead
giving me
that,
10 more.
what's that? You
So
can do
you're
it by
giving me,
10.
no, you're giving me 10 more. Because
Okay,
you're reducing by 50, so that'll leave me 70.
okay, then let's reduce it by
50.
50. So we're gonna, they're gonna get all the grant writing done, but we're going to reduce that item by $50,000. And they're going to make it work administratively.
do we have a second for that motion?
This is an I just, need a second. I'll
yeah.
second it, sorry.
Second for Mr. Rivera. Discussion. Mr. Rivera.
So, you want to keep the Director of Special Programs or this is in lieu of this position?
We're going to, right now we have a position, we still have a director.
Yeah.
What I'm making a motion to do is have to request that the administration on that item, the expenditure for the director be reduced by $50,000.
Salary alone,
Salary alone.
not time, and this individual's only responsibilities would be grant writing. Is that, I just want to be very clear.
Right.
So we're hiring a $60,000 grant writer. Basically.
That's what your motion is?
We're getting some feedback here. This is a union position in the administrators union. So there might be difficulty in, if you bring in a part-time person, it might be claimed. Yes,
So
true.
you either keep it or eliminate.
You either keep it or you don't, is what I'm getting from this side of my head.
We just voted not to eliminate it.
Yeah. Okay. Any further discussion on the item to reduce the director?
You can't, you're saying you can't do this position on a part-time basis or a half position?
It would have to be bargained.
You could, but there's a likelihood it would be grieved and the work be claimed by the union. Correct?
Cheryl, when you were the director, you were a,
Part of the Administrators Association.
it's tough to get anything done.
Can I ask for clarifying?
Yes.
Has everything but the grant writing been absorbed in other places at this point for this year?
No, not yet. No.
Okay.
Any further discussion on the motion to reduce the Director of Special Programs by 50,000? Seeing none, all those in favor?
I guess I'll look for it, if it can be done.
All those opposed? Andrew voted yes. Everyone else voted no. All right, I would like to make a motion. Can I make a motion? I'd like to make a motion that we move this budget to the Board of Finance at the number of $67,215,957.
I'll second.
Second by Daniel. Discussion.
You had said earlier that I would be able to make a motion at the end of these line items that I could either make a motion to add something or reduce something. And I wanted to add back to the wanted to make a motion that the pay to play would be eliminated. I mean,
I-
discussion, or at least get a second.
Well, you can't get a second on right now, but
That's what you
we've made
said.
well, I know, but you've made a lot of motions, and I figured that you would have thrown that one in there at some point
No, I
when
was
you wanted
saying
to
with
get it
your-
in there. All right, I'll withdraw my motion.
Okay, I'd like to
Your
make
turn.
a motion that we eliminate pay to play for the athletic participants.
Just to clarify, only for the athletics or for pay to participate overall?
I would like to eliminate the $25 fee that we were proposing for both the music program and the athletic program.
I just wanted to be clear, that's all.
Sure.
Okay. Do we have a second for that? He wants to remove the pay for participate fee and,
The $25
from this
fee.
budget, the $25, from music and sports.
Music, sports, drama, yeah, I mean, all those things.
And any pay for
Pay
participate
to
fee.
participate.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, discussion.
I already discussed it, I'm sorry.
Seeing none?
I thought that based on the fact that the athletic department has stated that they would be able to reduce their budget by $30,000, I thought that would more than offset the $25.
If they reduce theirs by 30,000, I would be in support of eliminating the pay-for-play fee for athletics.
What about music?
Is that an actual number? Is that something we can plug in, that 30,000?
I thought that's what she said.
She did throw that number out there. She said 30 plus thousand,
And
38.
But is that, Cheryl, is that number, does that number include $30,000 worth of reductions before the number that's already in front of us?
She's talking an additional $30,000.
Or is there an additional $30,000 within the athletic budget that could be realized?
she's,
I don't know what you have for numbers up there.
Yeah, hang on one second. The hearing last Wednesday night, it was asked that the athletic director look at her budget and reduce it by 10%. So that directive was given to Janet. Janet came back with a reduction of 30,000, roughly 29 and change of her athletic budget. That's all she felt that she could cut. So that we can cut that right now. But that will then reduce the 67.2 million by approximately 30,000.
There are no cuts to sports or music in this budget.
This time.
and
Just so,
but she's saying that she can make $30,000 reduction to her line item.
Mhm.
I'm saying that based on what I thought I heard last week, that the $25 per student athlete would generate a savings of $23,000.
That was just for sports.
Exactly. So well, let's just deal with one area first.
do you want to amend your motion?
No.
63,000.
I would like, I would then like both the athletic department, we go right back to what we were talking about before. I thought what we had agreed, I thought what we were kind of in consensus last week was that the music department would come forward tonight, just like the athletic department came forward tonight, and say that they could sustain. Obviously, she says a $30,000 reduction in her budget. The music department apparently has not come forward to say that they can make any reduction. I'm saying have both of them equally share what that $25 per athlete and other extracurricular, obviously, the music department, and we eliminate the pay to play
want to change your motion to that? Or do you want to vote on your motion?
I can't really change too much in the motion because I don't know what the actual amount
So,
of either. I don't really know what the $25, what the actual dollar amount we were saving in the athletic budget, and I don't know what $25 was saving in the music budget. If you could give me those numbers, then I will make the exact motion.
The athletic fee, the student activity $2,500 fee would equate to about $22,000. The music fee would equate to about $13,000.
Okay.
And we did meet, with music yesterday, and they said most certainly they could, reduce their budget by the $13,000. In lieu of the fee.
Right. So my motion then would be, I would like to have the athletic budget reduced by $22,000. I would like to have the music budget reduced by $13,000. And I would like to have the concept of pay to play for $25 per participant eliminated.
I'll second
that's your
that.
new motion. We have a second over here. Did you hear the motion? The motion is to reduce the athletic budget by $22,000, the music department budget by $13,000, and remove the $25 pay to participate fee from both programs.
The total of the fee is $23,050. Did I get that right?
No, because you have the elementary.
Right, that's right, Andrew?
What?
That's right.
Yeah,
right?
okay.
Okay. Any discussion?
Elementary's cool.
Any discussion, John?
I kind of like the budget we have.
Okay. Vinny?
I'm in favor of that. I think I would like to do away with the pay to participate completely. Absolutely.
Chris, anything?
If the departments come in with the numbers to avoid it, that sounds like a more palatable option to me. If they think that they can swing it, I don't know why it wasn't done originally, but all of a sudden the money is there that, yes, we can reduce it, but see that as there's less problems without the fee.
Ellen, anything?
I like the budget we have.
Daniel, anything to add? Paul, anything to add? Okay. Those in favor of reducing the athletic budget by $22,000, the music budget by $13,000, and removing the $25 pay to participate fee, those in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Those opposed? 3. It passes. So, now we take it's at no additional cost to the budget. It's to be funded within the budget. All right. I'd like to, tell me if I missed anything, Danielle, from your list. I would like to make a motion to move our budget figure forward. The only adjustments that I see is the minus 36,000, because we took 10 out for special ed, we put 10 in for the late bus.
Right.
We took 36,000 out for sports and music. So,
So
3 hours later, we are
save
at a number
$36,000.
that is $67,179,957. The second by Mr. Oliver. Discussion. Really?
Just, I think everybody worked really hard on this budget, and I think it's a responsible budget for the students of Torrington, and I think that's what our job is. So I hope we will get support with this budget.
Any further discussion?
Repeat the total one more time.
The total will be $67,179,957 and 22 cents. No, just kidding. For the Washington trip. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Mr. Cavanero? I'm sorry, Mr. Cavanero, it's unanimous in favor. Andrew, you voted in favor.
Oh, okay, I didn't see it, sorry.
There's only one order left.
Motion adjourned.
I beat you. Second by David. Discussion?
Nope.
All those in favor?
Yes. I still got the second.
Opposed?
This streak is actually.
Thank you all for coming out.